Welcome to Biography with Plutarch, where we delve into the lives of extraordinary individuals, seeking to understand the complexities of human character and the forces that shape our destinies. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey through the life of Pablo Neruda, the renowned Chilean poet, politician, and diplomat. Born Ricardo Eliezer Neftali Reyes Basualto, Neruda would eventually become one of the most influential and beloved writers of the 20th century, leaving an indelible mark on world literature. To comprehend the essence of Neruda's character, we must begin at the beginning, in the small town of Parral, Chile, where he was born on July 12, 1904. The dusty streets, lined with rustic adobe houses and surrounded by rolling hills of golden wheat, would later become a recurring theme in his poetry. His father, José del Carmen Reyes Morales, a railway worker with a rugged demeanor and a love for the land, would often regale his son with tales of the Chilean countryside. Neruda's mother, Rosa Neftali Basualto Opazo, a schoolteacher with a passion for literature and learning, would instill in her son a love for the written word, encouraging him to explore the world of poetry and fiction. The family's modest means and the rural setting of Parral would later influence Neruda's writing, as he often drew upon the natural beauty and simplicity of his childhood surroundings. As a young boy, Neruda was introverted and sensitive, with a deep affection for nature and a burgeoning interest in poetry. He would spend hours exploring the surrounding countryside, collecting leaves, rocks, and other treasures that sparked his imagination. His mother encouraged his creative pursuits, introducing him to the works of Chilean poets like Gabriela Mistral, who would later become a significant influence on his writing. The family's relocation to Temuco, a town in southern Chile, when Neruda was just a few years old, exposed him to the region's unique cultural heritage and the indigenous Mapuche people, whose traditions and struggles would later find expression in his poetry. Temuco, with its rugged natural beauty and resilient people, would forever hold a special place in Neruda's heart. The town's rustic streets, lined with wooden houses and surrounded by towering trees, would become a source of inspiration for his writing. He would often wander through the nearby forests, listening to the songs of the birds and the rustling of leaves, feeling the misty rain on his face and smelling the sweet scent of the native flora. These sensory experiences would later be woven into the fabric of his poetry as he sought to capture the essence of the natural world. Neruda's early education took place at the Temuco Boys' School, where he excelled academically and began to develop his writing skills. His teachers recognized his talent and encouraged him to pursue his passion for literature. However, it was during this period that Neruda also faced his first experiences with poverty, social injustice, and personal loss, including the death of his mother in 1920, when he was just 16 years old. These formative events would shape his worldview, informing his future writing and activism. The loss of his mother in particular would have a profound impact on Neruda, leaving him with a deep sense of melancholy and a longing for the comfort of her presence. The historical context of Neruda's early years was marked by significant social and economic change in Chile. The country was undergoing rapid modernization, with the rise of industrialization and urbanization creating new opportunities and challenges for its citizens. The influence of European culture, particularly from Spain and France, was also evident in Chilean literature and politics, as the country sought to assert its own identity on the world stage. Neruda's generation was caught between tradition and innovation, conservatism and radicalism, and it was within this complex cultural landscape that he began to forge his own path. As we explore the early life of Pablo Neruda, we find a young man deeply rooted in his Chilean heritage, yet already exhibiting a restless spirit and a desire to engage with the broader world. His love of poetry, his sensitivity to social justice, and his fascination with the human condition would eventually propel him onto the global stage, earning him numerous accolades, including the Nobel Prize in Literature. The small town of Temuco, with its rugged natural beauty and resilient people, would forever hold a special place in Neruda's heart, serving as a touchstone for his writing and a reminder of the enduring power of his roots. The young Pablo Neruda, with his introverted nature, his love of poetry, and his sensitivity to the world around him, was already exhibiting the characteristics that would define his later life as a writer, politician, and diplomat. As Neruda's passion for poetry continued to grow, he began to explore the world beyond Temuco, drawn to the vibrant cultural scene of Santiago, Chile's capital city, like a moth to flame. The year was 1921, and at the tender age of 17, he made the bold decision to leave his family's humble home in Temuco and embark on a journey that would change the course of his life forever. It was here, in this melting pot of artistic expression, that Neruda first encountered the works of Walt Whitman, whose free verse style would later influence his own poetry. He spent hours devouring Whitman's words, feeling an affinity with the American poet's celebration of the human body and the beauty of nature. As he delved deeper into Whitman's world, Neruda began to see the possibilities of poetry as a tool for social commentary and personal expression. His early writings were marked by a sense of melancholy and social consciousness, reflecting his experiences with poverty and injustice in Temuco. The struggles of his childhood, the hardships faced by his family, and the injustices perpetrated against the indigenous people of Chile all found their way into his poetry, like whispers from the past. In 1924, Neruda published his first book of poetry, Crepusculario, Twilight, which received critical acclaim and established him as a rising star in Chilean literary circles. The book's themes of love, nature, and social justice resonated with readers, who were drawn to the young poet's innovative use of language and form. As Neruda's reputation grew, so did his circle of friends and acquaintances, including notable writers and intellectuals like Federico García Lorca, Rafael Alberti, and Miguel Hernández. Together, they formed a vibrant community of artists and activists who sought to challenge the status quo and promote social change. One of the most significant influences on Neruda's life during this period was his relationship with García Lorca, the renowned Spanish poet. The two men met in 1926, and their friendship would last for over a decade, until García Lorca's tragic death at the hands of fascist forces in 1936. Their conversations, often fueled by wine and passion, ranged from poetry to politics, and Neruda was deeply influenced by García Lorca's emphasis on the importance of social justice and the role of the artist as a catalyst for change. In the late 1920s, Neruda's poetry began to take on a more overtly political tone, reflecting his growing involvement with leftist politics and his concern for social justice. In 1927, he joined the Chilean Communist Party, and his poetry began to reflect his commitment to Marxist ideology. Works such as España en el Corazón, Spain in My Heart, in 1937, which was written in response to the Spanish Civil War, demonstrated Neruda's ability to balance political passion with poetic nuance. His words were like a clarion call, urging readers to take action against injustice and oppression. Neruda's relationships with other writers and intellectuals were also an important part of his life during this period. He befriended notable figures like André Malraux and Ernest Hemingway, and together they formed a vibrant community of artists and activists who sought to challenge the status quo and promote social change. In 1933, Neruda was appointed as the Chilean consul in Barcelona, Spain, where he became embroiled in the country's tumultuous politics and witnessed firsthand the brutal suppression of the working class. As the Spanish Civil War raged on, Neruda found himself at the forefront of the intellectual resistance against fascism. His poetry became a powerful tool for advocacy and activism, inspiring countless people around the world to take action against injustice and oppression. In 1937, he traveled to Spain to participate in the Second International Congress of Writers, where he met with other prominent writers, including Stephen Spender and Langston Hughes. The experience had a profound impact on Neruda, who returned to Chile determined to continue using his poetry as a force for social change. Throughout his life, Neruda remained committed to social justice and human rights, using his poetry as a powerful tool for advocacy and activism. As he once wrote, "Poetry is born in the womb of silence, but it dies in the tomb of indifference." Neruda's own poetry, with its passion, its nuance, and its unwavering commitment to social justice, continues to speak out against indifference, inspiring readers to action and to reflection. In the years that followed, Neruda continued to produce some of his most iconic works, including Extravagaria in 1958, a collection of poems that showcased his innovative use of language and his ability to balance humor and pathos. The work was widely acclaimed, and it cemented Neruda's reputation as one of the most important poets of the 20th century. As he looked out at the world around him, Neruda knew that there was still much work to be done, that the struggle for social justice and human rights was far from over. But he also knew that his poetry had made a difference, inspiring countless people to take action against injustice and oppression. As the years unfolded like a rich tapestry, Neruda's poetry continued to evolve, reflecting his growing concern for social justice and human rights. The Chilean landscape, once a backdrop for his romantic and introspective works, now became a canvas for his passionate advocacy for the oppressed and marginalized. In 1970, he was appointed as the Chilean ambassador to France, a position that allowed him to promote Chilean culture and politics on the international stage. As he navigated the diplomatic circles of Paris, Neruda's charismatic presence and poetic flair made him a beloved figure, and his words continued to inspire a new generation of intellectuals and artists. However, his time in France was cut short when he returned to Chile in 1972 to support the presidential campaign of Salvador Allende, a close friend and fellow socialist. The election of Allende marked a significant turning point in Neruda's life, as he became increasingly involved in Chilean politics. He was appointed as a senator and used his position to advocate for social justice and human rights, his voice ringing out in the halls of power like a clarion call for change. But the rise of Augusto Pinochet and the CIA-backed coup that overthrew Allende in 1973 marked a dark period in Neruda's life. The poet was forced into hiding, his health beginning to decline as he suffered from cancer and the emotional toll of watching his country descend into chaos. Despite the danger and uncertainty, Neruda continued to write, producing some of his most powerful works, including Defectos Escogidos, Selected Defects, a collection of poems that reflected on his life, love, and mortality. Neruda's life came to an end on September 23, 1973, just 12 days after the coup that overthrew Allende. The official cause of death was cancer, but many suspected that he had been poisoned by the Pinochet regime, a tragic end to a life marked by passion, creativity, and conviction. Today, Neruda is remembered as one of the most important poets of the 20th century, a master of language and a passionate advocate for social justice. His poetry continues to inspire readers around the world, offering a powerful vision of love, politics, and human connection. His legacy extends far beyond his poetry, as he played a significant role in shaping Chilean politics and culture. He was a key figure in the development of Latin American literature, and his work influenced generations of writers, including Gabriel García Márquez, Isabel Allende, and Mario Vargas Llosa. His commitment to social justice and human rights was rooted in his experiences as a young man, growing up in a country marked by poverty and inequality. He saw the struggles of the working class, the injustices faced by the indigenous people, and the oppression of women, and he knew that he had to use his words to speak out against these injustices. Neruda's poetry was not just a reflection of his own experiences, but a call to action, a reminder that we all have the power to create change. His words continue to inspire us, to challenge us, and to remind us of the importance of living a life that is true to ourselves and our values. In the end, Neruda's story is one of hope and resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always the possibility for transformation and redemption. Neruda's legacy is a gift to us all, a reminder of the enduring power of art to transform and transcend, and to create a community of readers and writers that will continue to thrive for generations to come. That's all for today's biography with Plutarch. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that understanding the lives of remarkable individuals helps us better understand ourselves.